Welcome to Alberta Advantage Immigration Program, also known as AAIP webinar. Today we are providing an overview of the tourism and hospitality stream. There are a few housekeeping items to be aware of. First, the chat function is not available. Secondly, we will not be hosting a question and answer session during today's webinar. Please be advised we will be recording today's webinar session. If you have technical problems or would like to listen again, a recording will be posted on our website within the next few days. It is important that you do not leave the webinar as you will not be able to re-enter. Before we begin, please be aware of our disclaimer and copyright notice. We have made every effort to give you correct information, but if there is a discrepancy between this presentation and Alberta Advantage Immigration Program eligibility criteria and processes as described on AAIP's website, the website will prevail. Please note that the copyright on this presentation belongs to the Government of Alberta. Today's agenda includes information on the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program and the tourism and hospitality stream. We will go over the candidates' eligibility requirements, including Alberta job offer and employer requirements. Next, we will review the process to express interest through the Worker Expression of Interest system, also referred to as Worker EOI, and if you are invited, how to submit an application. We will also share information on the process after AAIP issues the nomination certificate. Lastly, we will touch on how to contact AAIP. Most provinces and territories in Canada operate a provincial nominee program, which falls under the economic immigration class. These programs allow provinces and territories to nominate individuals for permanent residence based on their ability to contribute to the local economy. The Government of Canada sets the overall immigration levels for Canada each year, including allocation targets for each province under the provincial nominee program. These targets determine the number of nominees each province can select to meet its specific economic and labor market needs. For 2025, Alberta's allocation limit is set at 4,875 nominations. Nominations cannot exceed the limits established by the Government of Canada. Alberta Advantage Immigration Program must operate within these limits to achieve its program objectives. Given these restrictions, it is important to note that not everyone who wishes to immigrate to Alberta through the AAIP will be invited to submit an application or be eligible for nomination. Due to unprecedented demand for immigration, AAIP has developed a Worker Expression of Interest system to align application acceptance with its key objectives. This system helps address the diverse sector demands for immigration, ensuring that the program supports and sustains business growth in Alberta. AAIP prioritizes sectors with both immediate and long-term labor needs, while also supporting all areas of the economy and fostering economic development in Alberta. The tourism and hospitality stream is a stream for temporary foreign workers who are already working full-time in Alberta in the tourism and hospitality sector and have a full-time job offer from a qualifying Alberta employer in an eligible occupation. Candidates must have a valid work permit issued with a positive labor market impact assessment. Candidates must also meet other minimum eligibility criteria for occupation, language, education, Alberta job offer, and work experience. The tourism and hospitality stream was designed to address skilled labor gaps in accommodation, recreation, and entertainment, and other tourism and hospitality industries. Eligibility is tied to employment within this sector, ensuring alignment with Alberta's economic priorities. This stream is one of many approaches to support Alberta employers and provide a permanent solution to current and long-term labor shortages. What are the eligibility requirements? Like other worker streams, there are a number of requirements that must be met, some at the time of application or at the time of assessment, or both. Read the website carefully to determine what the requirements are and which ones apply to you. It is important to note that requirements may change, so be sure to review the requirements before submitting your application, as there are fees associated with an application. At the time your application is submitted, and at the time AAIP assesses your application, your employer's primary business activities must belong to an eligible industry, as defined by the Workers' Compensation Board, Alberta Industry Code, or exempt activities. The full list of WCB industries is available on AAIP website. Your employer must also be an active member of an eligible sector association. A sector association membership ensures the employer's operations are legitimately established and recognized within Alberta. Most tourism and hospitality employers in Alberta are eligible for membership in at least one of the sector associations. Commitment to enroll by the employer will not be accepted in place of an active sector association membership. An exemption may be considered if an Alberta employer can demonstrate through documentation from the applicable sector association that they could not qualify to be a member. The employer must also be listed as an experienced provider on the Travel Alberta website and meet Travel Alberta's requirements. For the full list of eligible sector associations, please visit our website. Candidates must be living and working in Alberta in an eligible occupation for an approved tourism and hospitality employer. Alberta Advantage Immigration Program allows candidates in many various tourism and hospitality occupations to apply to this stream. Some of the many different eligible occupations throughout the industry includes recreation program leaders, accommodation managers, tour guides, food counter attendants, cooks, and restaurant managers. Check out the current list of 18 eligible occupations on our website. Candidates must meet the following requirements to be eligible under this stream. They must have 6 months of continuous full-time paid work experience with their current employer that is authorized by Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. Unauthorized work experience or work experience gained from a previous employer will not be considered towards meeting the tourism and hospitality stream work experience requirement. Candidates must have a valid work permit based on a labor market impact assessment for an eligible occupation or based on an LMIA exemption for those directly affected by wildfires in Canada. Candidates with work permits under maintained status, restoration, or issued under any other LMIA exemption are not eligible. Candidates must have a bona fide full-time job offer or employment contract in an eligible occupation with your current employer for 12 months or more. Wages must meet or exceed the requirements of the LMIA. Candidates must demonstrate through official language tests they meet or exceed the minimum language skill requirement of 4 within the Canadian language benchmark for both English and French. Official language test results must be from an accepted organization as designated by Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, and must be less than 2 years old at the time of application submission. Expired language results will not be accepted. The date used to determine the age of your test results is the date you took the test, not the date the test results were released. AAIP will not accept confirmation of registration to take language test in place of a test result. All language test results are verified at the time of application assessment. Be advised, IRCC may request updated language test results if the official language test results submitted with your permanent residence application have expired. You must have an educational credential assessment when you submit your application. This must indicate that you have a minimum of a high school education equivalent to Canadian standards. You will also be asked to submit a copy of your foreign credential. Obtaining an educational credential assessment can take several weeks, so make sure you have one ready when you submit your worker expression of interest, as you may receive an invitation at any time after submitting a worker expression of interest to AAIP portal. Please note, an educational credential assessment is not required if you have a Canadian degree, a Canadian diploma or certificate, or a valid Alberta qualification certificate or a recognized trade certificate. Before you submit your application to AAIP, make sure you have a conversation with your Alberta employer. Your Alberta employer must be willing and able to support your application. Your Alberta employer will be required to provide proof of the legitimacy of the business, that they are providing a good or service in Alberta, employees are offered employment consistent with their business activities or needs, and that they are able to fulfill all of the terms of the job offer or employment contract, which must be verifiable by AAIP. AAIP encourages you to review the Alberta Job Offer and Employer Requirements webpage for a comprehensive listing of requirements. AAIP must be satisfied the Alberta business is legitimate, the job offer provided is genuine, and that candidates have the capacity to become economically established in Alberta. Candidates are responsible for working with the Alberta employer to ensure that the employer and job offer requirements or employment contract requirements are met, and that all required documents are submitted with your application. Application fees will not be refunded when an application is declined based on employer requirements not being met. Some candidates are not eligible to apply for or be nominated, even if they have a job offer to work 30 hours a week or more in a 12-month period. Make sure your job offer is valid and is for full-time work in a space zoned for commercial or industrial purposes. Job offers for home-based businesses are not eligible. Candidates must not be employees of a temporary agency, also known as a temp agency, or working as an independent contractor for the employer. Candidates who are also the business owner or listed as a director, shareholder, or agent of the Alberta employer on the corporate registry system are not eligible. Virtual employers or virtual employment or candidates living outside Alberta will not be considered as eligible job offers or eligible Alberta employment experience. Candidates who are working in or have a job offer in an ineligible occupation will not be considered. Refugee claimants or individuals involved in federal appeal or removal process are also not eligible. AAIP does not intervene in IRCC's refugee claim, appeal, or removal process. Candidates with another application or active nomination in another AAIP stream are not eligible. Candidates must withdraw that application to be considered for the tourism and hospitality stream. Please note, if you choose to withdraw a pre-existing nomination to apply for tourism and hospitality stream, there is no guarantee AAIP will select you. Even if selected, AAIP does not guarantee a nomination. Keep in mind, updates continually happen, and it is your responsibility to be aware of any and all changes. It is important to review all eligibility requirements prior to submitting and paying for an application to the AAIP. How do you apply to tourism and hospitality stream? Individuals interested in applying to AAIP must first submit a worker expression of interest, also known as worker EOI, through AAIP portal. There is no fee associated with submitting a worker expression of interest. Once you submit the worker EOI, the EOI will be automatically scored for human and economic factors and placed in the worker EOI pool. We highly recommend interested individuals review the worker expression of interest points grid to see how they may qualify. Candidates can claim 6 extra points if they have a job offer from an employer who is a member of a required sector association under the tourism and hospitality stream. Depending on draw instructions, you may qualify and be selected to apply under any of AAIP's available streams, which may include the tourism and hospitality stream. If you make a mistake or wish to edit the information declared in the worker expression of interest, you must cancel and resubmit a new worker expression of interest. There is no ability to edit your worker expression of interest once you click on the Submit button. It is crucial to ensure that you meet all of the eligibility criteria for the stream and have all required supporting documents before submitting your application if you receive an invitation to apply. The email you receive will contain a link to begin your application, along with a submission deadline and instructions to pay the application processing fee. AAIP will assess and verify the information declared in the worker expression of interest and on your application, including employment history, employer requirements, language, and other criteria. If there are discrepancies between your worker expression of interest application and information reviewed and verified by AAIP, your application may be declined. Application information must be kept up to date. Make sure to update AAIP with any changes to your application. Additionally, be sure to respond to any AAIP requests for further information. Application status information can be viewed within AAIP portal. You can log into AAIP portal to verify submission of the expression of interest and for information on your AAIP application. Alberta Advantage Immigration Program recommends reviewing the tourism and hospitality checklist to make sure you have all the correct documents and information. What happens after you are nominated under the tourism and hospitality stream? Once a candidate receives a nomination, they must apply to Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, IRCC, for permanent residence. The nomination is only valid for 6 months, and you must apply to IRCC before it expires. We encourage candidates to read through their nomination papers. Candidates must maintain their employment and residence status in Alberta during this process. Failure to do so may result in the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program withdrawing the nomination. Stay informed and review our page on what to do after you are nominated. After you apply to IRCC for permanent resident status, you can check your application status through the IRCC portal. AAIP cannot give you any status updates at this point. You and your family members will be required to undergo medical, criminal, and security checks. If there are changes to your application, including contact details or employment, while IRCC is processing your application, you must update both AAIP and IRCC. AAIP may withdraw a nomination certificate if the nominee no longer meets the conditions for nomination. Alberta offers a wealth of useful data publicly on this website. You are encouraged to explore this section for open data on the progress of AAIP, including application volumes, the number of nominations available for the calendar year, the remaining nomination spaces, how nominations are distributed across different streams and pathways, and other relevant information. This data helps to clarify the limits, progress, and priorities of the program. We also receive numerous inquiries regarding status updates, processing times, the prioritization of certain applications, and many more. Many of these questions can be answered by visiting this page, which provides valuable insights into the program's processing activities and helps address common concerns. AAIP encourages everyone to visit our webpage. AAIP strives to provide comprehensive information on its website regarding how to express interest, apply, and what to expect after submitting an expression of interest or an AAIP application. If you encounter details not covered on the website and need further clarification, you can contact us through the webpage provided. A web form is available at the bottom of the page for you to submit any questions related to AAIP. Please note that questions already addressed on our website will not receive a response. Only inquiries that require additional details not found online will be responded to. Thank you for attending today's session. Please visit AAIP Learning Resources page to access all recorded webinars.